A rush of stunned faces and raised eyebrows has settled around a curious new report, despite countless Americans strolling through the Golden Arches around 55 times a year. A slew of eye-opening revelations is rattling the typical fast food routine. It's as if a cherished national pastime, grabbing a burger and fries on the run, has been quietly hiding its own full-blown science experiment. According to insiders, ex-employees, and a growing body of independent tests, everything from immortal burgers to unexpectedly sugar-laden salads is prompting a wave of second thoughts about what really goes on behind that friendly clown facade. Is it just a handful of questionable ingredients? Or is it an entire system designed to lead us by our appetites? And if a single meal can contain half a day's salt, what's that say about the other times we queue up, oblivious to the details? This swirl of suspicion arises from simple but startling experiences, such as discovering a leftover burger in a car for 3 weeks, shockingly intact, no mold or foul smell, almost like it had been preserved for a museum display. One might think it's a bizarre fluke, but these stories keep multiplying. For years, scattered across social media are pictures of old fast food meals that barely degrade, leading people to wonder if they're munching on food or a cunningly disguised chemistry project. Then there are the chain's healthy offerings, from sugar-laden yogurt parfaits to salads that surpass a Big Mac in calories. Suddenly, the brand's entire menu is under a new lens as folks realize their gentle vow to order something. Healthy this time might be a bigger gamble than anticipated. The controversy begins with that universal icon, the fast food hamburger. Millions are devoured daily, but a surprising test involves simply leaving one out in the open air, something usually guaranteed to produce mold, smells, and a congealed mess. Yet the storied chain's burger, as real-world diaries show, can stay nearly pristine for weeks or even months. Customers, spurred by curiosity, have documented transformations that never seem to happen, as if time itself took a vacation. Is it an outcome of dryness, extra salt, or a labyrinth of preservatives? Either way, the spectacle begs the question, if typical homemade burgers degrade quickly, what exactly is in that patty? Former staffers hint that pink slime, a blend of leftover beef bits treated with ammonia to kill bacteria, used to factor into the supply chain for certain items. Official statements say that's no longer the case, but cynics remain unconvinced, especially when the brand's own marketing trumpets 100% beef. The suspicion remains that while the label might be legally accurate, the approach to how that beef is processed could be more nuanced. Combine that with a chemical-laced environment, and it's not shocking that some folks find leftover burgers in the back seat and wonder why it still looks dinner-ready. But it's not just burgers hogging the spotlight. The brand's healthier picks, supposedly introduced to align with modern dietary concerns, open their own can of worms. A salad, for instance, might feature crispy chicken, bacon bits, a robust dressing, and a calorie count that somehow soars above that of a standard burger. That alone can deflate the moral high ground many assume when they order something green. Plus, certain fruit and yogurt combos can harbor more sugar than a couple of donuts. The chain isn't exactly parading disclaimers about that, leaving some to discover the sneaky sugar bombs on their own. Dima Fomenko, 15 OR 2095 1711. Nutritionists point out that a giant chunk of the population might visit under the premise of picking up a light lunch in the form of a salad, not realizing they might exceed daily recommended sugar or sodium intake in a single meal. The rationale from the chain, which emphasizes customer choice, often rings hollow to critics who see it as marketing wizardry. The brand draws in those seeking to eat well, then quietly saturates them with dressings, sweeteners, and toppings that have an uncanny knack for ballooning the final nutritional stats. Another equally puzzling component is the unstoppable ice cream machine fiasco. For years, hungry people have strolled in, excited for a cone or a McFlurry, only to be greeted by the "sorry machine is broken" refrain. It's so common it's almost a meme in popular culture, but revelations reveal that these machines often aren't truly broken. They're in a locked cycle because of complicated nightly cleaning steps. If something minor goes awry, the machine clamps shut like a high-tech security system, requiring specialized service techs who happen to profit from every call. The brand, which once championed convenient indulgences, stands by this equipment. But frustrated store operators say the design is so finicky they can't fix errors on their own. Meanwhile, customers stew in disappointment, fueling a perpetual rumor mill about how the chain might keep the machine broken just to reduce overhead. The broader story underscores how reliant the system is on corporate partnerships for equipment. The brand invests in specialized machines from a single manufacturer, and each location is forced to comply, repairs included. So if a manager wants to keep the ice cream flowing, but the machine cycles into meltdown mode at 9 p.m. on a busy Saturday, that's just tough luck. For connoisseurs of the milkshake or that iconic swirl, it's a perennial heartbreak, leading some to even design smartphone apps that identify which outlets' machines are actually functioning at any given moment. One might assume the chain's signature fries are a safe bet. Crisp, golden, iconic, rarely do they break down once left out, according to anecdotal experiments. Similar to the burger phenomenon, these fries can remain suspiciously well preserved if left in a paper bag for days or weeks. Food scientists highlight that while a typical homemade fry has enough moisture to spawn mold within days, the fast food version undergoes rigorous processes, par cooking, freezing, and the addition of additives, to ensure they hold up during shipping, frying, and waiting under heat lamps. The result is a product so low in moisture and so highly salted it basically refuses to degrade, at least in the typical sense. On top of that, the chain's fry formula is reported to involve beef flavoring or certain compounds that deliver its signature taste, though the brand's policy statements have evolved over time. Meanwhile, critics point to the total sodium as a prime reason to reevaluate. If a single medium portion can knock out a startling chunk of daily recommended salt, one wonders how all the other menu items line up. The brand's official stance that people love the taste is accurate enough, but as with the burger, the refusal to break down roils the public's sense of what's food and what's basically a near-plastic entity. Moving onward, or perhaps downward, in the quest for clarity, we arrive at the Chicken McNuggets, those little lumps of battered comfort that a large chunk of the population can't resist, especially in the late-night hours. The suspicion around pink slime resurfaces here as well, with the chain repeatedly insisting that they no longer use that method. Yet the modern recipe includes a slurry of chicken parts, stabilizers, and flavoring, shaped into the brand's 4 standardized shapes. They're fun to dip and devour, but less entertaining to read about in an ingredient list. Dima Fomenko, 1500 Ford 2020 1711. Another lesser-known aspect is the anti-foaming agent present in the oil, often a type of silicone used industrially. The brand calls it standard procedure for large-scale frying. Detractors call it horrifyingly unnatural. Then come the stories of McNuggets being refried multiple times if a batch was overproduced during a rush. That's a cost-saving measure, staffers say, though it can leave the final product tasting like stale grease. If you do happen to get a fresh batch, it might have a crisp delight. But as soon as the store miscalculates demand, those leftover morsels might be doomed to the second or even third oil bath. Rising bright and early, the chain's breakfast items have also earned a suspicious glare. The brand's ads proudly show an egg cracked on a griddle, but testimonies suggest that this is often a heavily standardized disk, complete with a swirl of ingredients that defy Grandma's kitchen. For certain sandwiches, the egg arrives in A pre-cooked, flash-frozen patty form then gets reheated to order. The unscrambled eggs for burritos? Those can come in a large container of liquefied egg product poured onto a grill. Did someone mention freshly cracked? Possibly only for the top-tier menu lines or certain offerings. While everything else remains a factory product, it's all about consistent shape and cooking times, according to defenders. Yet for those who like the idea of a real egg sizzling on a hot surface, these revelations can be a letdown. Even the brand's folded egg, frequently found in breakfast sandwiches, is rumored to be egg-pressed, loaded with extra stabilizers to keep it from flaking or overcooking. Then there's the marketing aura that goes far beyond the items themselves. Color psychology is at play, with red and yellow triggers designed to stoke hunger. Menu boards are arranged to highlight the brand's most profitable items, like bundles or combos, while the cheaper single items lurk in corners, requiring an eagle eye to locate them. The chain's venerable upsell approach, once known as supersize, has largely vanished in name, but persists in spirit, with staff trained to ask if you'd like to make it a large. Even the classic "would you like fries with that?" has been replaced by more subtle approaches. The brand evidently updates menu board layouts regularly, reacting to data about how the eye moves across signage. A value meal might not always be the best value, but the presence of the word value triggers assumptions, so many folks buy it without double-checking. Meanwhile, intangible cues like the smell of fries pumped into the air around the building or the specifically curated music inside reinforce the brand's strategy of converting an impulse into a sale. It's not just about the taste, it's a well-crafted environment that fosters spending. For those who attempt to extricate themselves from the brand's gravitational pull, success might not come easily. The chain's convenience is deeply embedded in routine: a quick meal after a busy day, a cheap lunch in between errands, or a standard breakfast for travelers who see the big neon sign as a harbinger of predictable choices. Yet, anecdotal accounts from people who quit for a month detail changes in health, budget, and even appetite. One man noticed an almost immediate difference in his complexion, energy, and monthly expenses. Surprising as it may seem, skipping the daily or weekly cheap meal added up, especially once factoring in that many default combos can run $8 to $10 or more. Dima Fomenko, 15/4/2025, 17/11. Yet few are able or willing to fully swear off the brand. Some revert to a partial relationship, the occasional burger or coffee, a once-in-a-blue-moon treat. They see the brand less as an inescapable go-to, more as an indulgence. Others remain irreversibly tethered, drawn by the quick fix. The brand's reliability, taste, and feel remain consistent across states and countries, competes with any illusions about more wholesome fare. Considering that many customers grew up with these items, the nostalgic factor can override the intellectual knowledge. About Fountain of Youth fries. Finally, for those who desire to keep munching but want to at least mitigate the questionable parts, ex-employees and thrifty customers share tips. Some suggest ordering a hamburger or a cheeseburger plain with add-ons on the side, so the patty is more likely to be fresh from the grill. Others skip the soda or fries entirely, not just to cut cost, but to reduce the salt or sugar avalanche. The brand's coffee has actually garnered some fans, though even that can come loaded with sugary syrups if one isn't vigilant. If you're shooting for the best nutritional outcome, the comedic consensus is, ironically, you might as well stay home and grill up your own unadulterated patty. But convenience is convenience. Looking at the brand's marketing machine, everything is engineered to keep you in that drive-through line. Subtle illusions about fresh, healthy, or value combine with the powerful gravitational pull of habit. Indeed, the brand's success is no accident. It's a meticulously orchestrated interplay of psychology, mass production, and a pinch of nostalgia. That's not to say any of this is illegal or hidden. Nutritional info is out there, after all. But who has time to read the fine print when you're hungry and running late? Meanwhile, the comedic fiasco of ice cream machines, the unexplainably intact burger left on a shelf, or the suspiciously perfect eggs have spawned entire subcultures of jokes, memes, and even real-time trackers. As modern consumers grow more label savvy, the brand remains an easy target for criticism, yet the lines remain robust. People chat about chemical-laden fries one moment, then proceed to chow down the next, nodding in agreement that it's too tasty or too convenient to pass up. The brand likely banked on exactly this dichotomy, mild horror at the details overshadowed by ingrained consumer loyalty. The actual consequences vary from person to person. Some note that indulging occasionally probably won't unravel their health. Others find that regular consumption leads to weight gain, mood swings, or shelling out more money than they realized in aggregated small meals. There's also the intangible cost, the slow creep of normalizing an environment where pink slime 2.0 might exist in some form, or where a nutritional salad can out-calorie a classic burger. In this swirl of revelations, each day's new discovery seems to extend the chain's surprising saga. One might expect short-term scandal or fleeting headlines, but the brand keeps forging on. The unstoppable marketing budgets, the carefully curated kids' meal toys, the brand consistency that transcends borders, these ensure the chain's continued place at the pinnacle. Nonetheless, as more ex-workers, researchers, and watchdog groups step up with their findings, the public's illusions keep cracking. Dima Fomenko, the 1504-2025-1711. From the vantage of pure business success, it's a master class. From a nutritional or ingredient standpoint, it can feel like stepping onto a carnival ride of contradictory claims, like stepping in for a simple snack and being greeted by a labyrinth of chemicals, illusions, and marketing smarts. Ultimately, each customer decides how to engage with these revelations. Are the suspiciously youthful fries and the sweet-laden salads a deal-breaker, or just another comedic footnote in the modern fast food narrative? Interviews with certain diners reveal a surprisingly pragmatic stance. They know the brand's food might be loaded with questionable elements, but they continue out of tradition or convenience. I'd rather have a quick, cheap meal than worry. All day, they say. Others, especially those with health constraints or a desire to cut preservatives, might pivot to cooking more at home or choosing alternative fast casual spots that pride themselves on fewer additives. But for the chain's bottom line, those occasional defectors don't appear to pose a serious threat. From suburban malls to major highways, the brand's presence is near absolute. Still, some do find ways to limit damage, skipping the cheese, or ditching the sugary drinks in favor of water, or simply sharing large fries among multiple people so that no single person ingests it all. While the brand's marketing might prefer upsells, thrifty customers create their own downsell, hacking the menu to cut costs and a few grams of sodium. If enough people adopt these tactics, the chain might tweak strategies yet again, continuing the cyclical dance between consumer savvy and corporate wizardry. Whether you're laughing over the perpetually broken ice cream machine or cringing at an ingredient list that includes variants of chemical anti-foaming agents, the brand's unstoppable momentum remains a lesson in how thoroughly fast food has entrenched itself in modern life. The routine of it is so deep that one man, after trying to stop for 30 days, discovered the hardest part was overcoming the autopilot turned into the drive-thru on his commute. Once that autopilot habit was conquered, though, he observed immediate changes, saving money, losing some weight, even noticing clearer skin. If fast food is a ubiquitous feature of American life, some say it's practically part of the culture, such personal stories reveal that, for many, it's also quietly shaping waistlines, budgets, and daily rhythms. At the end of it all, the IASMA brand's future is secure, at least for now. The controversies, ironically, serve as free publicity. The comedic headlines about immortal burgers or never-decaying fries ensure that the chain's name stays top of mind, and many fans remain unapologetic, citing convenience or flavor. Meanwhile, swirling in the background is the knowledge that these timeless fries and refried chicken lumps might be more science experiment than wholesome meal. The brand's official statements rarely mention the details of anti-foaming agents or pink slime controversies, beyond ensuring everything meets government standards. It's left to the eater to decide whether that's enough. Peering into the future, experts predict that if consumer preferences keep shifting, the brand may attempt further illusions of health, possibly rolling out new salads or fresh spin-offs that overshadow how they're loaded with additives. They might create another wave of limited-time or all-natural items that produce short bursts of excitement, then fade. The brand has proven agile at rebranding or reintroducing items, always spinning a new story, yet the central tension, mass production meets uniform taste, remains the same. Perhaps the brand's real brilliance is that it can't be pinned down. If you're a committed fan, it's an indulgence that's part of your weekly ritual. If you're a detractor, it's a cautionary tale on how marketing can overshadow the actual food. Those healthy illusions, or immortal fries, highlight the wide gulf between marketing slogans and nutritional reality. Each time someone photographs a leftover burger after 3 weeks, the brand shrugs, continuing to sell. Millions more. The unstoppable force meets an immovable demand. The golden arches remain bright on the horizon, even as these revelations swirl. So, is it all doom and gloom? Not necessarily. People can and do occasionally enjoy these items without catastrophic results. But once you peel back the bun on these details, the question arises, do we really want to keep inhaling something that can outlast a typical school science fair project? Is it worth letting a simple craving overshadow the knowledge that a small shift to home-cooked meals might yield immediate health and financial benefits? And if the brand's broken ice cream machine or heavily salted fries no longer amuse you, it might be time to consider an alternative. Still, many Americans might remain content with their 55 visits a year. Some might even push that number higher. The chain's formula was never about authenticity or minimal processing. It was about forging a reliable, addictive experience that feels the same in every corner of the country. Ultimately, that's the real magic. For better or worse, the chain turns food into something that fits our unrelenting schedules and preferences. A burger that defies decomposition, a salad disguised in more sugar than a dessert, those might be details overshadowed by the sheer convenience. Every so often, though, a leftover bag or a scorned nugget reminds us that we're participating in a system at once comedic, cunning, and, for many, too convenient to resist. As the sign's tagline used to go, we might be loving it, but it never said we had. To love the behind-the-scenes truth. For now, that tension remains part of the fast food tapestry, and the chain, unstoppable, greets the next customer with a bright smile and a sweet aroma, as if to say, "Welcome back."